Brodes Media.
We have two major problems with this football team right now. Number one is Nick Sirianni might be the worst game manager of all time, ever. He blows. And there's a couple of reasons why I think that is. Why does it look this tragic? None of the third down plays feel like it's consistent with the fourth down, go for it mode. On 3rd and 11, prior to the 60-yard field goal attempt, that's when you go for it, Nick! That's when you go for it. When you're up just a little, you're giving the other team short field advantage. Your defense has been holding their own and dominating all game long. You're going to ask them to do it again when you inevitably fail? Okay. But why it doesn't add up is because if you have a field goal mentality, knowing that 60 yards is a huge ask, run the fucking football. Run the fucking football on 3rd and 11. To make it a 55-yarder, a 54-yarder, that is insanely different than a 60-yarder. And this is probably the 9th example of when their third down attitude doesn't match their fourth down mentality. And this is the dynamic of the coaching staff that I had issues with. And we are seeing that play out in front of our very eyes. Kellen's feeling the groove one way. Nick is, I don't know what he's doing. I have no idea what he's doing. I have no clue. Right before half, with 13 seconds to go, he decides to go for a fake tush push when everybody and their mother knew something was up, when him and Jalen were speaking on the sidelines for a long time, covering their mouths. Their offensive line is screwed up and banged up big time. What do you think's going to happen? You're not fooling anybody. But what is the advantage anyway, even if you do somehow get it? If you do stick to your guns, go with the tush push, that is a high probability play, even if this year has struggled more than years past with Jason Kelsey. What does it do? What's the benefit if you do get the first down and get maybe one crack at it before you kick the field goal anyway? The reason why it didn't make sense to me is the percentages tell me that you're probably just going to have to settle for a 3-3 tie at half no matter what happened on that 4th and short. So just kick the damn points and don't mess around with it. And I want to make something very clear. Just because I didn't mind the first attempt against the Falcons to go for it instead of kicking a field goal, it doesn't mean every time I'm okay with it. I'm not Dan Campbell. We're on 3rd and 62. You got the 4th down and 62 play ready to go in your back pocket. Each game, each moment, the time, the timeouts, the score, they're all different. That's why this foolish narrative right now that Nick Sirianni goes for it sometimes is safe, and other times is X, Y, and Z a third time. Okay, that's not a bad thing. You don't just have to be uber aggressive every second of every time. That was sort of the picking apart of Nick Sirianni's game against Atlanta. There's no rhyme or reason. There's no sort of identity. And it's like, well, you don't just have to go for it every time just to go for it. And it's almost like Nick heard all of you and said, okay, fine. You want me to do what you said? I'll do it. Which is ludicrous. Kick the field goal before half. Make it 3-3. And don't even get me started on the second half. First drive for the Birds. 4th and 3. You could have made up for the failures that you had right before half. And somehow you shoot yourself in the foot again. They are so undisciplined. Goddard not lined up properly. He had a monster day. And here's the thing. I'll talk about BG because BG looked like he was in his prime. I'll talk about Jalen Carter, the good. There's bad on Jalen Carter too. CJ Gardner-Johnson is starting to piss me off. There's some things here, but there's good things. My point is there's good things. There's good things. Vic Fangio, 5-man fronts, stopping the run. There are things that I love. Jalen Carter, every play, smacking it down at the line of scrimmage. It wasn't every play. It was a couple of times. But those couple of times were large. But Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts being question marks is significantly more important than that. Jalen Hurts cannot turn the ball over as bad as he did. The interception to Devontae Smith in the end zone is embarrassing. And stop it. Stop trying to put the blame on Devontae for a route, for not fighting hard enough. Jalen's turning the ball over every game. Every game he's throwing interceptions now. Don't even get me started on when he flushed to the left and he fumbled the football too. He's not protecting the ball enough. That's killing this football team. And if that continues, you're not going to be what we need you to be. And this team already kind of is that. They're not good. I'm not walking away going, hey, without Lane, without Mekhi Becton, without AJ, without Devontae, woohoo! Woo! I'm saying, fuck! This team sucks! I'm sorry. That's my thought. I'm closer to that. Obviously, I'm being a little emotional. I don't take that for the actual words here. It's just more of the feeling of which way I'm trending, which way I'm closer to. It's not, yeah, baby, 2-1. It's holy hell. This team makes me sick. Even with the acknowledgement of what they dealt with, it's pretty big. Look, the Falcons just did what we did to the Saints to us 1 week ago. The team responded thanks to Saquon, thanks to Goddard, and thanks to the defense, which is good. That's a good thing. What's not a good thing is your head coach being pathetic. I didn't even talk about the 12 men in the huddle, right? Right before the block punt. Forgot about those details. This team is undisciplined. That's the coach's job, especially when he doesn't do anything else. See why I'm having an issue here? And I'm sure that Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman are disgusted. Because I was seeing all sorts of numbers getting thrown out there about when you should kick the field goal right before the half. Did they decide to do the right thing, this and that? Regardless on how you feel about the word analytics and what that means and how teams should and shouldn't utilize them, here's the truth. Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie spend a lot of money. They spend a lot of their cash, a lot of their time, a lot of their assets on trying to gain advantages with those numbers. Whether you like it or not, just follow me for a second. Nick is going off the script. Nick is going where he's losing his damn mind. And I'm starting to wonder if he's doing that because he knows, I'm out of here. Yo, I'm getting canned. I'm going on my terms. He's already telling us by his poor decision-making on where he feels he stands and goes, you know what? Screw it. Doug Peterson did the same thing. The difference is he didn't even toy around with this. He just did it in the offseason good and said, I'm gone. He said, screw it. I'm out of here. Nick took on the charge, and now he's realizing real quick what this is like. All right, let's get to the two things I didn't like from the defense. And it's both personality-based. Jalen Carter on the sidelines at the end is embarrassing. Having to be held by 4 different guys because you're taught in play. Dude, you're the same guy that missed a team meeting and had to be benched because of it. And I forget where I heard this from, so I really, really apologize. It wasn't one of my original thoughts. I think it was Go Birds. I think it was Go Birds Radio on WIP Saturday afternoon with ESP and Seltzer. I'm pretty positive that's where I heard it. And somebody mentioned, is it possible that Jalen Carter missing that meeting wasn't the first time? It's just happened enough where they have to do something. I go, I never really thought of that, but I've heard from people who are around the team a lot during the offseason that Jalen Carter is not ready yet, mature level-wise. And we were supposed to look at him to be a Fletcher Cox. We were looking at him to be a staple of this team, a Brandon Graham. He's 6 years old in regards to maturity. 6 years old. We got a long ways to go. He played great on the football field, and that matters. But I do look at him as someone who's supposed to change the face of the franchise type stuff. And all that nonsense afterwards, foolish. And same with CJ Gardner-Johnson. Saying they're not real. They're pretenders. They got Derek Carr. What are you? What are you? You're going to be a significantly underachieving type of team, is what you're probably going to be by the end of the year. Shut your damn mouth and focus on yourself. And maybe this goes back to coaching, just keeping your guys in check, keeping the room the way it needs to be. I want guys to have personality. I want you to have that pizzazz. But I also can't stand on a third down or fourth down, when the Saints go for it, they get a first, but CJ makes a nice tackle after they already gained the sticks and gained the yards. You're out there flexing. What the hell are you flexing for? Just screams loser attitude, loser energy. Can't stand it. So I think there's an immaturity problem.